Now then, people, it's Joe. It's just Joe. Welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, the place where you can get all your latest news from Leeds United, Elland Road, Thorp, and of course, it's transfer season. Some would say it is silly season, but look, listen, Leeds United have been very, very, very quiet in the transfer window. One first team. You could argue, say two. Junior Firpo, and of course the Christopher Klassen signing. But we've had some massive updates over the last 24 hours. So we've got loads to chat in. Of course, some big hitters in the transfer world have jumped on the Dan James stuff. And it looks like it's going to be a mover, guys. It looks like it's certainly going to be a mover. When your main man, Fabrizio Romano, is tweeting out that Leeds United are in advanced talks to sign Dan James, then of course it's going to prick your ears up. Please make sure you all smash a like on the video, share it if you can as well, and please do, as always, subscribe to the channel. So we heard the news late last night. Adam Crafton broke the news on from The Athletic. It had the seal of approval from one Phil Hay, of course. He retweeted the article, which, you know, we're not saying always Athletic is 100% bob on, but when it gets the seal of approval from Phil Hay, then of course that's going to get your ears pricked up. For those who haven't had a chance to see the article, I will share it with you in just a second, and we'll have a little read through that, and then we're going to see some further updates since then. Obviously, I went live yesterday with Kagey just discussing this information. But we've had some further updates. And like I say, this isn't just paper talk anymore. This is real. This looks like it's going to happen. So keep getting your comments and get your thoughts in on, of course, the Dan James transfer. I'm going to set a little poll up on the video to get your thoughts. Just bear with me 1 second while I do that. I've set a little poll up there. I want to know, guys, in the comments, are you happy with the possible signature of Dan James? So what I'll do is I'll just quickly, obviously, share with you, first of all, the article that Adam Crafton shared with us yesterday from The Athletic. As I say, Athletic, one-stop shop for all your football news. I love it, to be honest. It's keeps you all up to date. But you can see here, Phil Hayes, seal of approval. This was Adam Crafton on Dan James and Man United from last night. If we actually click on the article itself, I'll go through it with you there. So he told us last night that Manchester United were willing to listen to offers for Dan James. So it says Manchester United are ready to listen to offers for Dan James ahead of the transfer window. The Athletic understands that a number of Premier League teams have been made aware that United are open to approaches. Manchester United, of course. Leeds, you know, we came within a whisker of trying to sign Dan James from Swansea in January 2019. He completed a medical, as we all know. We all know the story. The deal fell through on deadline day. It is believed that Leeds manager Marcelo Bielsa remains an admirer of the Welsh winger and would like his club to sign James before Tuesday's deadline. Now, I know, as we all know, you know, the Marcelo Bielsa was saying just yesterday that, you know, he didn't expect any signatures. Let's not forget as well, guys, just while you know, Angus Kinnear said the only way something would happen would be is if that, you know, something presented itself like a Rafinha situation. Now, are we not in a scenario where this is another Rafinha situation? Okay, he doesn't have the stature as what Rafinha, but did Rafinha before we signed him, really, if we're being totally honest? You know, I'm not saying Dan James is anywhere close to Rafinha's level and all that sort of stuff, but what I'm saying is the club were waiting for an opportunity to present itself. Whether or not that was Ryan Kent, because Rangers needed to sell because they were out of the Champions League. We know they didn't qualify. Maybe it was Noah Lang. Maybe if Club Brugge wouldn't have moved on and Emmanuel Dennis moved on. The other player they moved on just recently, his name escapes me. Maybe they needed funds and therefore said, you know what, we're going to have to sell Noah Lang at a cut down price. That hasn't happened. I do believe either Ryan Kent or Morales will leave Rangers because they'll need it now that they haven't qualified for the Champions League. But it turns out the other one, of course, Dan James. Do Man United need him with Rashford? Obviously, they kept him the early part of the season because Rashford had to go for shoulder surgery. He's now come through that. I believe Dalot's going to be staying with them as well. And, of course, they've recently brought in Cristiano Ronaldo. He completed his medical. So, Cristiano Ronaldo, Martial, Greenwood, Rashford, Dalot, Pogba can play on the left if needs be. So, it's clear they don't need him anymore. So it looks like Dan James is going to be the one that's going to move on, guys. So as I say, he's moved on. He's going to be made available to Leeds United. Just bear with me 1 minute. Wi-Fi is a bit sketchy. It will sort itself out. So yeah, Leeds, we were told yesterday, Leeds are open to a loan move or even a permanent deal for James. He's valued in excess of 20 million by Manchester United. I don't think we'll pay 20 million for him. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe that may be. I'm just hopeful that we wouldn't pay that much for him. We know we've been restricting our spending, as Adam mentions in the article. He has been previously linked with Brighton. So that was one because obviously Graham Potter mentioned just yesterday, you know, Graham Potter is, he was his manager at Swansea, let's not forget. Just bear with me 1 second, guys, while I just update this. My Wi-Fi is going sketchy, so I'm just having people come off the Wi-Fi. It's all go, man. There was no time to wait. So we know why. And also it said as well that previous interest from Everton, Leicester and Palace. Well, we know that Everton have got Andros Townsend. They've got Damari Gray. They haven't got a lot of money to spend, a bit like Leeds United. It was seen. Crystal Palace, and hopefully wouldn't go there. But Leicester was the one that worried me because I look at Leicester and the options that Leicester have. You know, they have Mark Albrighton and a Jose Perez on the right-hand side of midfield. So you're thinking Leicester's a viable option. Leicester in Europe. But it turns out they're after Adamella Luckman, who was previously on loan at Fulham. I heard that from my good friend Gary from Talking Shut. So, yeah. So that was Adam Crafton's update. So that was late last night. I did a live reacting to it. A lot of people coming out and saying, listen, don't want him and stuff. I don't understand that. I don't understand it. I think he'd be a good signing for us, and it's a body that we need. And then, of course, this happened, guys. Why we're all here? It is, of course, the Oracle, the man himself, Mr. Fabrizio Romano, tweeted out, look, exclusive. Leeds United are in advanced talks to sign Dan James from Manchester United on a permanent deal. It's a permanent deal, guys. It's not going to be a loan. It looks like it will be a permanent deal. Discussions are ongoing to complete the agreement and talks also on personal terms. So it looks to me that Leeds United are the front runners. We heard that and, you know, you're thinking, oh, really, are we? But then when Fabrizio Romano, of course, tweeted out to say that, you know, Leeds are in advanced talks to sign Dan James from Manchester United on a permanent deal. Discussions ongoing to complete the agreement, talks also on personal terms. It says here the Noah Lang rumours a few days ago were fake. Never been close to Leeds in the last few weeks. We heard from Mr. Phil Hay himself, who basically said that Leeds, well, more so Orta likes Noah Lang. Bielsa not so sure on Noah Lang. We know that one player he's definitely sure on is, of course, Dan James. Who can forget Spygate? I was trying to find the image earlier on, but I couldn't find it. That Spygate article that had the little folder on it with Dan James in that folder. We know that he really likes it, yeah? So there we go. Fabrizio Romano. Forget about where it's been reported anywhere else, guys. It can be reported in the Manchester Evening News. It can be reported in the YEP, and that's no disrespect to any of them. But for me, Fabrizio Romano is the main man. For me personally, I may be wrong. People may disagree. Maybe he has got things wrong in the past. But when Fabrizio Romano comes out and he's giving it the here we go, then you know you're pretty bob on. We've also had, let's have a look, Tom Carnduff, who I respect a lot as well. He said Dan James to Leeds is odds on now. Adamella Luckman to Leicester, the same, and Eddie Nketiah to Crystal Palace. So if you think about some of the clubs that were linked, as we've just mentioned, Everton. Well, we know Everton have brought Damari Gray in. They've got Andros Townsend in. They're wingers. They're stats now. They're okay. Leicester also linked, but Ademola Lookman is odds on to join Leicester City as well. That was the main worry for me as a Leeds United fan. We need bodies in the door. I would like the idea of bringing in Dan James. I've always liked the idea of bringing in Dan James. I think, look, people won't agree with me, but I think it's got a little bit of a story to it. I know he's gone to that team, but he was never supposed to be there. He was always supposed to be at Leeds United. Hopefully, when Leeds United seal the deal, they can do the exact same that they were supposed to do when we signed him back in 2019. The same shirt, the same pictures, the same lot. Just do it. Get him to get that Parker out. Get him to take that same picture, but with the new kit, of course. But yeah, Ademola Lookman looks set for Leicester City. That was the main worry for me as a Leeds United fan, to think, oh God, you know, if Leicester enter the race, they can offer Dan James European football, etc. Keep getting your comments in, guys, as well. I will get to them in just a second. I just wanted to give you the news. Big shout out to the members of Just Joe FC as well. We'll get in there. I've seen a lot of comments say, let's put a cheeky bid in for Van der Beek and Lingard while we're at it. I'll take them. Let's have a look. Oscar, my main man at All These TV, says, in my opinion, the Dan James level of backup to Rafa Harrison is the priority. A KP click Dallas midfield shouldn't lead to any issues creatively. We've added a top creator at left back and only struggled to create last season when Rafinha and Jack Harrison were out. With a bit of better quality backup winger, this issue is solved. And I know a lot of people are saying centre midfield. But I think the thing for me, when we seen Radrazani tweet just a couple of days ago, when he was asked the question, do you see, or it was more so, where's our new centre midfielder, Rads? And his response was Adam Forshaw with a white heart, a blue heart, and a yellow heart. That tells me that the club are happy with the centre midfield options, whether you agree or disagree. I disagree, you'll disagree, some of you might agree. You know, I had someone telling me I've got it all wrong. We don't need new signings. The under-23s are the new bodies. Now, ask yourself the question, and I asked this person the question in my comments as well. When was the last time Bielsa played an under-23 in the Premier League? When was the last time? This is what I'm saying. You know, we get this whole off the conveyor belt is coming through, and they will do eventually. But you know, and they don't get used all that often. Is what I'm saying. You know, you don't get used all that often. Is what I'm saying. I think there's a point to be made about that. And I think, look, Bielsa is clearly happy as well with the centre midfield options. Yeah, Shackleton, okay, but. You know, some say Huggins, but it's not the same though, guys. I'm talking about their little bit part roles, right? Their little bit part roles. I'm talking when we're saying we don't need bodies in the door, and the response is we have the under-23s. They don't have a long period of time spent in that first team. When they come on, it's through necessity, not through creating a spark or anything like that. Jamie Shackleton, for me as well, guys, I don't see as an under-23 anymore. I don't. He's a squad player. He's in the squad. I'm talking, we're on about that conveyor belt. If I look underneath that, listen, they will get their chances eventually, but I think that's just one thing that was put to me. And I just didn't agree with it because I can't remember the last times we had that, you know, a long, you know, stay in the first team for one of the under-23s that broke through. Bobby with a super chat, thank you very much, says, surely Costa leaves now too, won't get in anywhere. I don't know. I mean, Bielsa still may want 4. Bielsa still may want 4. I think this is the thing, and I know a lot of people bang on about Somerville, and I'm like that as well. I'm not digging those out that mention Crescencio Somerville. But when Bielsa was asked in a press conference about his options, and he was asked specifically about the winger options, he mentioned 3. He said Rafinha, Harrison, and Costa. He didn't mention Somerville. He didn't mention Poveda. I think Poveda was still here at the time as well. I think Baron Cross did a live with Connor, and he didn't mention Poveda, and Poveda obviously was going out on loan at the time. But he also didn't throw Somerville into that mix. And there's a reason he's not getting used. Would I like to see him used? Yes, of course. But I'm still not sure if Dan Jane comes in, Costa moves on, because he still might want 4. We'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, look, would I mind Costa leaving? No, because I don't think he gives us anything. I think Dan James would. I think the way that we play, the counter attack, the amount of space that we could, he could run into. Okay, there is improvements needed, but he's a young lad. And I get people are saying to me, Shaq. When I mention the under 23s, but I wouldn't really class him as an under 23 anymore. I'm just saying in terms of my response is, in terms of people that are saying we don't need bodies in the door, the under 23s are enough. I just don't agree with it, because he doesn't use them enough. He would sooner put square pegs in round holes than turn to players who play in that position and have them come into the side. And I'm not digging him out for that, but I think it's a fair conversation to be had. So that's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with that, but like I say, if you look at, I'm just trying to think now at some examples where, no, he hasn't really, has he? Shackleton, he's a midfielder, uses him at right back. Some have mentioned Leif Davis. He clearly wasn't up to the mark. Huggins at Arsenal, but this is what I'm saying, Steve. That's one game. Robbie Gott's got a game at Arsenal. I'm on about, people are telling me we don't need bodies because we have enough in the under 23s. Huggins was one game. Robbie Gott's was one game. Leif Davis was a few games. I don't think Leif Davis played more than 10 games over a 2 years period, over a 2-season period. My numbers might be wrong, but what I'm saying is we can't say the under 23s are the bodies that we need if they don't get used. If they don't get used, do you know what I mean? So, and like Podcast Lad to Leeds agree, Shaq is now a first 11 squad member. That's what I mean. I wouldn't look at him as an under 23. I think when the question was posed to me, like, we don't need bodies in the door, we've got enough. So that would mean bringing Somerville on. That would mean Geldart, Greenwood. These are the players that I assume the lads were taking, but he's not. He's not doing that. He's not doing that. I know Angus Kinnear said he felt that, we'll see a lot of them throughout the season, but it's a lot to be put on their shoulders as well, personally, I think. I think James would really suit our system. Smith is his bang on. He says James will suit our system so much better than Manchester United's. For these as well, right? Let's just get this out there as well. Martin Maguire says James didn't snub us. I see this a lot. He chose them over us. No, he didn't. I had a guy telling me yesterday we shouldn't take him back. He was never with us, really. Like, let's not get it twisted, guys. He was supposed to come in January. It didn't happen. Then the summer came around. And Manchester United, yeah, massive club. You don't, we can dislike them all we want, but we have to admit they're a huge club. Yeah, they come knocking at the door. He's playing at Swansea. He's taking that move. He's taking that move. Look, you can't blame the guy for taking that move and then say, oh, we don't want him at the football club because he's played for them. We were all right when we took Strachan. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I just want to say James didn't snub Leeds United. James didn't snub Leeds United. That wasn't the case. We just were. He celebrated versus though. Yeah, but what do you want him to do, Tyler? I don't go into this notion that you can't celebrate against your old clubs. Okay, if you're a legend there. Do you think if Dan James scored for Leeds United against Manchester United, he wouldn't celebrate? He would. He'd probably go run in front of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Of course he's going to celebrate, man. Of course he is. He was probably taking flack from the crowd as well. Do you know what I mean? Paul Crucianson thinks he's mediocre. I don't agree, Paul. I think we need to remember where we're at as a football club as well. I think too many people I've had during this window, rightly or wrongly, because football's a game of opinions, but I've had people tell me that Ryan Kent isn't good enough. I've had people say Conor Gallagher wasn't good enough. In response to the comments, we can do better. Where are these players? Of course, there are better players out there in the market. And there'll be people, and I know them on Twitter, that know a lot more about the game, do scouting reports, all this sort of stuff, yeah? All I'm saying is We say this all the time, we can do better. Lewis O'Brien, he plays for Huddersfield, is rubbish. Just because you play for a poor squad does not mean you're a rubbish player. And on Dan James, his deficiencies are glaring, right? In Manchester United's team. Yeah? In Manchester United's team. Now, I don't have to like them, but I can appreciate the squad that they have assembled, right? Now, I look at Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes. The telepathy between them two is mental. Pogba can get a ball, chip it over. He knows Bruno's already beaten the line and he's in, right? The telepathy between them two is phenomenal, right? Because they're on a different gravy train. They're on a different level to the majority of players within that squad. Now, Dan James is an even lower step than the others around them. So what I'm saying, of course, Dan James can look mediocre in a side that is as good as Manchester United's. They're facts. They're facts. Yeah. Now, in our squad, it's more along that level, guys. That's just my opinion. I just think that, of course, he looks poor in a side that has world beaters in. Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes, one of the best players in their positions in the world, And then you've got to factor into it as well. Like my friend Alison says, Marcelo will make a baller out of him. Let's not forget Junior Firpo came from Barcelona. Yeah? And he said within 2 weeks of being at Leeds United, I'd see more videos of myself than at any other time in my career. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, listen, I may be wrong, but the dude's a PE teacher. He ain't no good. He's got Michael Carrick and him and Phelan on the coaching. Even Man United fans will agree with this. Some of them might be watching this. They'll agree with it. There's levels to this coaching game, and Bielsa's right up here. I think what he could do with Dan James would just be like chalk and cheese to what Ollie's been doing on the training pitch. Dan James won't know what's hit him. Do you know what I mean? We've got some super chats coming as well. Harry Chapman, thank you very much, brother. He says, we've signed Giles, Gordon, and now James, all winger from them, and it would be a good deal for us. I agree with you as well. I agree. We've got Chorizo Machine, a Man United supporter, says James will be a very good player for Leeds. He works his backside off 90-plus minutes every time he plays. Will work with Bielsa so well. 100%, bang on the money. Everywhere I've seen Manchester United fans say that, is that he gives it, he gives it 100%. And maybe 100% of Dan James's, him giving it, is not up to the level of Manchester United. But I go back to my previous point. They've just brought in Jadon Sancho and Cristiano Ronaldo. They have Mason Greenwood, who, regardless of you guys might not agree, but he's an elite finisher. And he'll play for England for a very long time. Like I said, Jadon Sancho, Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, I think Martial's pants, but that's for another day. But what I'm saying is, he's 100% best isn't quite at their level, but they're a team that are fighting on all fronts. We finished 9th, guys, and it looks like we're going to be in for a tougher season. Dan James improves our squad. And that's what it's all about. It's about bringing players in that improve the squad. Okay, I know a lot of people say I want to see improvements in the first 11, and I get that as well. But there's nothing to say that Dan James won't be in there. Like I've seen, I think Connor done it. I've seen a few people mention maybe Rafinha goes into the middle of the park. Bielsa's mentioned it in the past. Maybe Rafinha goes into the 10. Dan James, Harrison on either side. Anything's better than Rodrigo right now. I'm sorry to say. We've got another super chat coming in from Bobby. Thank you very much, Bobby. He says, I want James, but just hope him coming in doesn't ruin Somerville's chances of getting minutes. Even massive clubs have young players come through. Yeah, they do 100%. We've just mentioned one there in Greenwood at Manchester United. I don't think it ruins his chances. I think, if anything, it creates competition and improves players. I guess we've seen the opposite to that with Costa when Rafinha came in. He sort of down tools it a little bit. His confidence is shot and he's nowhere near the player. Although I don't think he was ever great in the Championship. That's just my own opinion. I think people believe or forget and sometimes think that he was, or I don't think he ever was, really. He's never fulfilled the amount of money that we've shelled out for him. But look, Somerville's not getting minutes, regardless of Dan James being here. Bielsa's still turning to Helder Costa. This is what I'm talking about. I don't think it stunts his growth. If he was ready, he'd be getting used already. Do you see what I'm saying? So, is Costa and Somerville, or would you rather have Dan James and Somerville? Do you know what I mean? I think maybe Costa moves on. That could be a possibility as well. There's the Valencia links there. Who knows? Keep your comments coming up. Paul says he's not good. He's not good enough. Well, what's good enough, Paul? What's good enough, brother? Tell me what's good enough. Holy Ghost says Rafa's number 10 when Dan James comes in. Exactly, it's an option. It's a viable option, isn't it? It is a viable option. K Fur, another super chat. Thank you very much, mate. He says, I'm not in the James in camp unless MB can improve him immeasurably. He'll be a right-sided Costa. I wanted quality over quantity, Joe, but we will see. Well, I mean, what I would say to that is, if we don't get Dan James, you've got no quantity anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not bringing anyone in. We're not bringing anyone in. So Dan James is your quality and your quantity, Kiefer. Do you know what I mean? Because the club said the only way we would do any sort of business is if something arose. You know, Angus Kinnear said that on the Square Ball podcast. Make sure you listen to it. It's great. He said, we will only do business if a situation arises like a Rafinha. Now, maybe the club were hoping for a Kent to become available because Rangers didn't qualify for the Champions League. I've mentioned Noah Lang and Club Brugge, but no, Club Brugge have sold. They sold Emmanuel Dennis to Watford. They sold the other player the other day for decent money. So if you want to get Noah Lang, it's going to cost you a lot of money. And Bielsa isn't a great fan of Noah Lang. You know, people want to say, this is what I mean. You can't pick and choose when you say trust in Bielsa, because the same people are saying that you can't pick and choose when you do that. If you're going to say that all the time, then say it all the time. Because people will say to me, oh, he's not good enough, we should go for Noah Lang, but I trust in Bielsa. Well, Bielsa didn't want Noah Lang. Bielsa didn't want Noah Lang. Do you know what I mean? When people say that, trust, oh, Bielsa, and I get that. I'm on that, is what I'm saying. But when people just shut down your argument with, listen to Bielsa, well, then in response to that, I would say, and in response to like Kiefer, if we all want to go on with that same rhetoric, then let's just sign Dan James because Bielsa loves him. He's always loved him. And, you know what I mean? Whitney Houston stuff. But yeah, look, I don't think he'll be a right-sided Costa, mate. I don't. I think the guy's, he would fit in like a hand in glove. You know what I mean? Keep your comments coming in. We'll have a look back on... Right, Paul. Paul's getting me triggered. He says, Joe, I think Somerville is better. What are you basing it on, Paul? What are you basing it on? Are you basing it on under 23's games that you've seen him play? Because Dan James plays and has played 2 out of the Manchester United 3 games this season, which is in a side that are challenging for Premier League honours and Champions Leagues. He's played European football and he's played in his national side, right? Somerville, as much as I love him and I know that there's potential there, has played at under 23's level. It's not comparable. If Somerville was putting in the same performances at under 23's level in men's football, then I could say, okay, I can go along with your argument. But you're taking this over snippets of what you've seen on under 23s, or maybe you've watched them religiously. I don't know. You might have, right? And I apologise if that's the case. But what I'm saying is there's levels to this. Let's go back to last season when the Leeds under 23s were ripping it up. They played against Hull in the Carabao Cup. Rubbish. We played against Crawley. Rubbish. They're facts. And I'm not saying them players are rubbish, but I'm just saying there's a difference. There's a difference. So you can say Somerville is better, and he might be. And his ceiling might be better, and his potential and all this sort of stuff. But we're not, it's not comparable. You can't compare the level that Somerville has played at so far in his career to what Dan James has played at. Dan James plays international football for Wales, who have done decent. Yeah, he's played for Manchester United, and I know we dislike them, but they're playing at a higher level. The expectancy, all this sort of stuff is rammed up a notch. So, do you know what I mean? I think it's too easy to say that, oh, well, so-and-so's better, so-and-so's better. It's not comparable. You can't make them links for me to say that he's better when we haven't seen enough of Somerville. Do you see what I'm saying? But I might be wrong, guys. I might be wrong, but that's, that's just me. That's just where I'm at. Like I say, I think Dan James would be a great signing for us. And we'll see what happens. Keep your comments coming in. As I say, Reverend says you're wrong, and that's fine. That's fine. That's fine, though, Reverend. That's fine if I'm wrong. That's fine as well. There we go. Kagey says the move works for all three parties. Bielsa is about to unlock that Dan James folder and work his magic. Yeah, let's not forget that. Let's not forget that. This guy's got a folder that's probably on I don't know, Windows XP or something. He's going to have to set off the, Boeing 747 modem or something like that and click it into gear. Bielsa's on some old school stuff, carrier pigeons and all that sort of stuff. None of this Apple Mac Pro book, what I've got here. I'm telling you. So it'll have to be like, doo-doo, and then get open. It'll take up about 5 minutes to open it. Show him this presentation. Here we go, Dan James. Here we go. Look at Duncan. Kagey and talking sense again, shock. I know he does, man. He does. Podcast lad to Leeds, big shout out. Says a Harrison, Raff, and James combo supporting Bammy and balling away like will be one of the best defences in the Premier League. Just need that centre midfield position sorted. And there you go, there you go. If we can get a centre midfielder, this is what I'm saying. Maybe Huddersfield might come knocking back at the door and said, you know what? We're willing to take a reduced price. We just don't know, do we? The clock is ticking. I'm just seeing if there's any more updates. We know that Mark Cusarella, is it? How you pronounce it? My pronunciation's ain't my strong things. He's going to Brighton, so that's a big signing for them. I think Maitland-Niles he's trying to force a move through to Everton, it would seem, and he's put out on his Maitland-Niles. He'd be one. Why aren't we going for Maitland-Niles? Why aren't we going for Maitland-Niles? He says, all I want to do is go where I'm wanted and where I'm going to play at Arsenal. They're obviously blocking a move through to Everton. That's a bit harsh, isn't it? He wants to move, let him move. He's actually tagged Arsenal in it as well. But there you go. That's latest updates. But yeah, Fabrizio Romano, as I say, guys, doing bits on Sky Sports now as we speak. I'm thinking maybe that's the Dan James. Do you know what? That might give us an update on that because he's talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. But yeah, just to reiterate again, exclusive from Fabrizio Romano just an hour ago, says Leeds are in advanced talks to sign Dan James from Manchester United on a permanent deal. Discussions ongoing to complete the agreement. Talks also on permanent. Talks also on personal terms. We've got plenty of love in the chat from there as well. Plenty of people tagging myself and Kagey as well. Done deal, man. Make it happen. Make it happen. Keep your comments coming in, guys. As I say, thank you so much for joining me as well. Some great numbers. Thank you so much for those that put in the super chats. Lee says, deadline day saga again, Joe. I hope not, mate. Let's not do that again to ourselves. Let's not get that PTSD. You know what I mean? Where we're rocking like that. 10 o'clock comes and we're like that. It's still not happened. It's still not happened. Please. We don't need none of that. Do you know what I mean? We don't need none of that. Let's get it done quick time. We're in advanced talks. It looks like we might have a free run at him. And let's just, hang on, let's just think about that as well. It's just popped into my head, right? People that are hammering this Dan James deal. Leicester City are mooted as having an interest in him. Okay, they're going to go for Lookman. Leicester are a good side. Good side with the top coach. They're in for him. Everton were having an interest. Again, great coach. Great manager. You might not like his style of play, but Everton will do well this season under Benitez. Interested. We know about Palace. They're no ballers. They took Conor Gallagher. They're no ballers. They're no ballers, man. Don't get it twisted when they're taking Conor Gallagher. Believe that. By the way, have you tried the watermelon drink from KFC? Bang. It is banging. It's banging. But yeah, let's not have a deadline day saga. Let's just get it done and let's get it over the line, innit? Do you know what I mean? Let's hope that can happen. Yeah, Anna Millie says, as if it's on a computer, that man's into hundreds of filing cabinets right now. Yeah, exactly, like that. Pulling it out. His missus, I found it, Marcelo. I found it. But look, I mean, Gibson Gimp, I would take Lingard. You know, I never rated Lingard. Never, really. But again, there's another perfect example. These epiphanies keep coming to me. I thought Lingard was rubbish. Genuinely, I used to watch him play and say, no, not having it. He then went to West Ham. Now look at, right, this is the perfect scenario. Thank you, it's just come to me. Look at Lingard's impact at West Ham last season. That guy got them Europe. Lingard, he looked a cut above. People like can Benrahma fill his shoes? Leeds United fans, by the way, wanted Benrahma. Won't getting in when Lingard were there. People were questioning, can he even compete with Lingard? Look at Lingard in Manchester United squad. Rubbish, can't get a game, the fans don't want him. It's a similar scenario to Dan James, guys. In my opinion, you could say it's a similar scenario. We look at Dan James in that Manchester United squad and think, nah, rubbish. Fans don't want him. Why should we take him? We can do better. It's a perfect scenario, that, for me. It is to look at them, because like I said, we've got some more super chats as well. Let me get to these super chats. Just bear with me 1 minute. I think I might have missed one. I'm coming to find it. I don't want to miss it. Not a chance. Put that hard-earned cash in. There we go. Thank you very much. He says, James Jafai Wang, thank you very much. 500 yen. I think that is that yen? I don't know. He says, James will not be substandard. He always looks motivated and sharp, just like Bielsa's Leeds. And at this time point, we desire quantity of starters levels. Yeah, and that's a great point as well. You know, them that are saying under 23s and stuff like that. We need play. Dan James will make an impact if he comes off the bench, even if he's a squad player. Ask yourself the question: when Dan James comes onto that pitch, when the game is open up and there's space for him to run into, are you wanting him or Helder Costa? There's only one answer, guys. It is that simple. You know, it is that simple for me. Luke Williamson says, it's not just what James can do as far as goals and assists, what his pace will open up for others. Again, bang on the money, Luke. Bang on the money. Harmony's not on him, a member of Just Joe Football Show. Let her have a piece, and it's fair enough. She said, you can bring him up till the cows come home, Joe. He improves nothing. But this is what I'm saying. You may be right. You may be right, Harmony. I could be wrong. You know, it seems pretty split. Let's go to the poll anyway. The poll on YouTube. I put a poll out. Are you happy with Dan James signing? 81% of people are happy with the signature of Dan James. 81% of people. I think that's a decent barometer of, you know, what we've got in there. Look, there's Kagey. Shout out Harmony. She knows. she don't worry. Like Reverend says, they're both crap. Lingard's not crap. This is what I'm saying. So I can sort of get on board with you when you're saying, okay, you don't think James is good, but then if you're going to just say, oh, they're both crap, then there's no point even talking, because that's not true, is it really? Patricio Ham says, Joe, is it confirmed? No, but it might as well be. Famous last words. Yeah, man, because, you know, the guy that is the Oracle, I would say, you know, like, and people have said to me before when I called him the Oracle, like Phil Hayes, the Oracle when it comes to Leeds United, Fabrizio Romano is the Oracle when it comes to everything football, right? And people say sometimes, he gets it wrong, There is a reason that football clubs, when announcing their signings, put, here we go, and use him. They use him in some of their video montages when they're announcing signings. This guy has pull. He's on Sky Sports News now. And people, you know, so when he's saying it, guys, know that it's very close. Know that it's very close. You know, because like I say, football clubs use Fabrizio Romano. They pay that guy. They pay that guy to appear in their, you know, signing videos for him to go, here we go. You know what I mean? So know that it's on. And as I said, Fabrizio Romano, I'll share it with you again. And I share that Maitland-Niles stuff as well. That's madness. That's a bit harsh, really, to be fair. I don't know if you guys can see it. One sec. I think it's really harsh on Ainsley, to be fair. I mean, he's a guy that I would take to or have at Leeds United 100%. Just let me get that up for you. Just bear with us one sec there, guys, and I'll show you the Fabrizio Romano stuff as well. But I'm just going to show that Maitland-Niles stuff there. You can see there. Look, all I want to do is go where I'm going to play at Arsenal. You know, he's saying there on Instagram, let me go. He wants to go to Everton. That's big, though, isn't it, for him to actually put that out as well. Don't want to be at that football club, does he? That's for sure. Let's just find here. You're getting a little peek into who I get notifications off here, guys. All right, look, I have to get hooked on my man Oscar. Always speaks sense. There we go. Look, exclusive. Leeds are in advanced talks to sign Dan James from Manchester United on a permanent deal. Discussions ongoing to complete the agreement. Talks also on personal terms. So it's already gone through, you know, in terms of we're already discussing personal terms with the player. The Noah Lang rumours a few days ago were fake. If you remember, we were told that personal terms were agreed. That isn't the case. And it said he's never been close to Leeds in the last few weeks. So that one's not going to happen. But Dan James looks like he could, you know. And people can question it. But look, if you're going to go and say that you know, trust in Bielsa all the time, you can then not say that when it doesn't agree with your thing. Ollie Davis says use dark mode, you psychopath. What do you mean? What's that? Oh wow, Man United Herbert, there you go. He says James was never United quality. So happy he is going. Giggs needs to be put in jail with extra time for recommending him. I go along with that, mate. He should be getting time anyway, shouldn't he? Let's be honest. Lock away the keys, what I say. Would much rather see us spend money on Damsgaard. Alan, in an ideal world, I would agree with you. In an ideal world, like Kagey was mentioning yesterday, we're bringing Cooper Miners. He went for 16 million. Where's he going? He's going to a Champions League club. Mikel Damsgaard's next move is to a European club. It's not to a team that finished 9th in the Premier League and that will struggle to compete for Europe. And they're the facts. Do you see what I'm saying? We have to remember this. This is what we have to remember, where we are in the footballing pyramid. You know, like Damsgaard isn't a viable option for Leeds United. Not for me. I would love him. Don't get me wrong, and we've been linked to him, and I've brought you the stories. But I've said all along when you look at Damsgaard, for me, I think he goes like Tottenham or something like that, although it doesn't look like they're interested. But, you know, it could be somewhere like that. Here we go. Look, Adam Crafton, reporter from The Athletic. Right, let's have a look. I'm going to share this with you here. So there's still some convincing going on, guys. So just bear with me. Breaking news. So we've got Adam Crafton, who originally broke the story yesterday. Just bear with us 1 second there. He says, I actually think this would be a bit of a shame if it happens. So he's saying he thinks it would be a bit of a shame. Think there's games Man United benefit from his pace and work rate. Martial is more dispensable. He's saying that Martial is more dispensable than Dan James, meaning Dan James is more important to Manchester United than Martial. Martial, this pent through. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Martial is rubbish. Don't get me wrong, but there's Adam Crafton making that statement. He says, in my opinion, but in Leeds, Man United have a willing bidder. So Leeds are willing to meet whatever they're asking, it seems, at this time, within reason. He says, however, Dan James still needs convincing to move permanently. And this is what we have to remember as well, is that, Manchester United are a huge club. We don't have to like them, but ultimately it's big for Dan James as well. Is he thinking, I don't really want to leave Manchester United? And I know that'll rub people up the wrong way and stuff. Why does he want to come? So I don't know. But we've got a guest, a great friend of mine, Mr. Gary from Talking Shut. Sent me a little DM on it like a carbonic, on it like a rocket or something like that.
It's on like Donkey Kong, isn't it? It's on like Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong. You have to react to this stuff, mate. You have to react. But what are your thoughts, mate? I know you're pretty level-headed. Gaza, talk to me.
Just mate, I went to the Burnley game yesterday, and about just before we scored the equaliser, Harrison weren't having his best game. Raf weren't having his best game. And I kind of looked at the subs warming up and I thought, you know what? I don't feel like we've got anybody who can change the game. You look at Somerville, totally untested. You look at Costa, who, to me, he just looks so devout of confidence. And I think that's another debate for another show entirely. Yeah. So in Dan James, despite what you think about him, pace kills people and pace terrifies teams, and he's got that in abundance. Yeah. So do you know what? He's somebody that Bielsa's clearly loved. Since day dot, I think he probably would adopt him if he could. So yeah, I'm kind of on board. Is it a little bit underwhelming with some of the names you've had linked, or certainly that's the kind of the feel I get sort of on social media. But at the end of the day, as much as we dislike it, he's a full Welsh international. He's played a lot of games for them over the Pennines, who, as much as it pains us to say, are a good Premier League side, if not an excellent Premier League side. I don't think it can be sniffed at, to be honest. It's and then the proof will be in the pudding.
Yeah. And where do you stand? Because I was making this argument, not an argument, but just giving my side of the coin really. With a lot of people say, well, he's taking the place of an under-23, but are you a bit surprised how Bielsa has used the under-23s in terms of we haven't seen as many? This is my opinion, guys. I don't think we've seen as many utilised as I thought we would have when he originally came in with the track record that he had. I don't think, and if people want to say that that's where the depth is, then for me, my rebuke would be, well, I don't think we see enough of it to go along with that argument. Okay, we might see little bit parts. People mention Huggins, Gotts, Arsenal, all this, but it's one game, one and gone. It's very rarely sustained game time. I think Pascal and Meslier being the exception, but was that not through necessity as opposed to, choice at the time?
Yeah, I think there's probably an element as well of when we first came up to the Premier League, maybe the 23s were still of a championship standard. I don't mean that to sound harsh, but we're seeing actively looking at we've moved Niall Huggins on. We're looking at potentially Robbie Gotts going out. Alfie McCalmont's already gone out. Do you know what? It might just be kind of a case that at the time, certainly last year, maybe the 23s he didn't think were quite up to Premier League standard. But I think also it's a bit of a dangerous game to play because, Somerville's a player that is being talked about a lot and he's been excellent in the 23s. But the flip side of it as well is that if we bring him in and he bombs, then we've killed him. You know what I mean? He's like, It's going to take a bit of rebuilding. So I think it's important that when we blood these youngsters, to blood them in the right way, if that makes sense, as in put them in at right times. And so far this season, has there been a right time? I think it's a big ask to chuck basically Somerville in at Burnley tomorrow and tell him to make a difference in a team that were basically doing MMA on us. Exactly. And I think he would have struggled in the Everton game. It was right in the balance, and we were having enough of the game that we probably didn't need a game changer as such. So I don't know. You've got to take it on its merit, and I do think they'll get a chance. I do think particularly Somerville and probably Greenwood, Gellard, Creswell if we have a few centre back injuries. I think they will get the chance, but I saw a few tweets saying, what does Dan James bring that Somerville done? And I think it's a bit harsh to kind of base on that at this moment in time.
When I hear that, and I said this earlier on the video, mate, is like, it's not comparable. Dan James playing at Manchester United and for Wales, and maybe he's played little smackings of European games. He's not comparable to Somerville in the under-23s, bro. You can't compare performances.
I agree.
You know, K First says, my only gripe is that in the Premier League, if you don't improve, you are more than likely to go backwards than forwards. He'll get my full support, though. And I agree with that sentiment, but not bringing him in and not bringing anyone, we're even worse than that. Do you know what I mean? Mm. We're even in a worse situation because we're turning to Costa as opposed to Dan James. I'm just going to share something with you guys now, and I'll share it with the people because someone's just tagged me in this on Twitter. Some dude by the name of P. Harding Sport. I mean, I'm not going along with what he's saying. Yeah. I'll get it up. He's got 7,769 followers, so I'm a bit like, okay, well that's an okay number. But Joe, so have I. And that's a good point. I've got 5,000 actually. That's a good point. I never thought of it like that. But this is some BS that's coming. Do you know what? I'm not even going to give it the airtime because it'll be reported that Joe says. Because I'm a reporter, remember, guys? I'm a reporter.
Journo.
Yeah. Right, okay. So they're trying to say that Manchester United are trying to negotiate a deal for Dan James plus 15 million. Dan James and 15 million for Calvin Phillips, which is a load of tosh. He's then said Manchester United have offered Dan James plus Juan Mata plus 15 million for Calvin Phillips. Leeds are interested. They want minimum 40 million cash plus player. Or they want 85 million. Like, this is shit, innit? Like, what's he on about?
Mate, for a start, right, Calvin Phillips don't fit in that team in his current guys because they don't play that way. They don't play with a holding midfielder like Calvin plays. And why would we swap Calvin and take an attacking midfielder, Dan James at 15 million? It's ludicrous.
Yeah.
Just don't be stupid. Don't be stupid.
I just, when you said that as well, Joe, so have I. I'm like, oh shit, I've got 5,000 actually. Yeah. I don't know how that happened, mate. Do you expect then, are you a little bit worried that I was just saying we don't want PTSD, mate? We don't want to get to tomorrow night and it be 10 o'clock and we're still like all shaking, thinking it's not done yet. Do you expect it to be done pretty soon, mate?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. He's on Welsh international duty, isn't he? So if there's any medical, it'd have to be tonight.
It's a shame Tyler's not going, in it. It's a shame Tyler's not going now because I think Tyler's not going because he couldn't get a visa to go to Russia.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, they've had some visa issues, haven't they? But no, I mean, Fabrizio Romano seems to be the man, across it. And if he's saying we're in advanced talks and all that type of stuff, then you kind of would imagine it's going to get done. But a little bit of PTSD from last time, but I think the slight this time is obviously you Jenkins did a bit of damage limitation, didn't he, with the Swansea fans in. He pulled plugs on deals for Dan James and Leroy Fair, and then basically tendered his resignation. So he, there was external factors at play, shall we say? Whereas this time,
and it worked a treat for Swansea in the end, didn't it? Because of the money they got for James and all that,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think obviously I saw just when I was on your green room there, I saw the bit about Adam Crafton saying he weren't too sure if he wanted the permanent move or whatever. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's a tricky one.
He's not getting game regardless, is he? He's not getting game there.
And the thing is, he's not getting game. I mean, it's a tricky one because I wouldn't want him on loan where Bielsa turns him into prime Sancho Mark II and then sends him back to them. But like in the same respect, without being disrespectful, if he don't want to be here, like if he's having to second guess Leeds United and Marcelo Bielsa, then I might edge on the side of, do you know what, we'll stick with what we've got. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but the club are all about the right people in the with the right attitude and all that type of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I'd prefer him to be coming in. But I'll leave it.
It's like I said this about Lingard though. It's like he said he wants to cling on, and I get it with Lingard because he's been at Manchester United all his life and he's got very good friends there clearly. But just go to West Ham, mate. They reinvigorated your career. You were getting back in the England setup, and there's a move there. Forget Man United. I know it's difficult for you, but forget them because you're not at that level. Like I don't know. I just think, and I look at that with James. If he is genuinely saying, I'm not sure I want to move permanently, well, I'm sorry, Dan, mate. If we're being honest, someone needs to set him down and go, they've just bought Cristiano Ronaldo, Dan, and they've got Sancho, and they've got all these players. You're not going to get game time. Whereas under Bielsa, he's boom. It's like that. I mean, the trajectory, I think, if you compare And I always bring it back to that Firpo thing, guys, is Firpo's seen more videos of himself in 2 weeks than he'd seen in his entire career. Dan James will be exactly the same. He'll fire up that little, like we were saying, he'll get out his folder from his file of facts and say, this is what I watched you when you were at Swansea, and this is what you've been doing at Man United, and this is how we're going to improve you. Do you know what I mean?
Agree, mate. Totally agree. I mean, I know a few Man United fans, and one actually just sent me the tweet that you were talking about then about the swap deal and all that type of stuff. And and the more level-headed Man United fans who I know, I've always said, yeah, do you know what? I like him. He does a graft. He works hard. All that type of stuff. But then the sort of other Man U fans call him a lightning rod, and he's everything that's wrong with the Glazers and all that type of stuff. So yeah, it's a tricky one, but I think he needs to kickstart his career again, because, like you say, he's not going to play much for them. I mean, if you look at their attacking players, he ain't going to get a game there other than Carabao Cup, and like players do vanish away, and the stock falls, and then they don't play again. So maybe he needs to think about himself. But again, you kind of don't know what his mindset is. He might be suddenly being a big massive Man United fan. We never know. So
yeah, you don't. But just before I finish up, because we've been on for nearly an hour now, guys. I put out the poll earlier on. Are you happy with the Dan James signing if it can happen? And 81% of you agreed with agreed with me and said yes, you would be happy with the deal. Is that the same for you guys? You'd like to see it happen?
Yeah, mate. I think I think it gives us a little bit of something that we ain't got, as in like pure raw pace. Yeah, he probably is a bit raw at times, but if there's a manager who's going to get best out of him, it's Bielsa. And currently, with Costa being dramatically out of form and not really looking up to it, Somerville being really untested, I think we'd be daft to sort of turn his nose up at it, because he has potential to be a game changer at times. Yeah, in like games against Burnley yesterday. Yeah, so
yeah. And all them people who are hammering him here, yeah? Just like when I get hammered, because I'm on record and I say it with my chest on videos and you'd all hammer me, I'm going to remember all your comments. And when he bags on his debut off the bench and you're all going, what a baller, I'll remind you all. But yeah, it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. Gaz, before we go, talk to us about Talking Shut, what you've got in the pipeline, mate. You'll be back live this week, won't you? Are you off with the international break or what? What are you doing?
No, we're going to be back. We've just announced that we partnered up with Leeds United, local non-league side, and they're going to. They've got quite a lot of Leeds ties to them. Ross Killock's currently playing from at centre back. The chairman is a big Leeds fan. Various other sort of Leeds related stuff. A lot of Leeds fans in Ossett and sort of Wakefield. So what we've done is we've teamed up with Ossett United. We're going to record from the bar on a Wednesday evening in sort of one of the side rooms. And hopefully fans can come down. When I say fans loosely, people who listen to the podcast can come down and have a beer and sit and watch us record live, and we'll kind of see how it evolves a little bit. So yeah, buzzing to link up with a big shout out to James Rogers for letting us do that, and yeah, so we'll be back.
A few questions to the audience and that, a bit of audience participation.
Possibly, mate. Yeah. I mean, we kind of, we as we always have done at Talking Shut, we kind of just see how it plays out. So yeah, we'll see how the evolution happens, and then got a long-term plan. We might start having some live shows, with some guests on and stuff like that, if we can get it from down there. And there'll be a tiny bit of Ossett United stuff in there as well about who they're playing and how they're getting on, and hopefully get some of their Leeds related sort of members on the podcast in terms of Ross Killock and people like that.
Yeah, man. There's Danny. Look, good friend of ours says he's going to come down and just stare at you.
like I'm in the zoo, Dan, and you're just going to
pointing. Yeah. There's that guy. There's that guy of Talking Shut.
I don't really know how to take that, but I'll take it, Dan. I'll take it.
No, that'd be good, guys. If you aren't already, please do check out Talking Shut. As I say, it is a great pod and part of my staple weekly Leeds United podcasting, listening. Yeah, there's so many out there, but Talking Shut has stood the test of time. Some have had to let go. Talking Shut's always been one that's there, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But thank you, guys, for jumping on this Bank Holiday Monday. Thank you, everyone who joined on the chat. That was great. Loads of numbers. Thank you for the super chats as well and the support on the channel. Subscribe if you are new here, please. And like I say, look, the deadline day is not done. Hopefully there might be some more. If there is, then no, because I'm lazy and I'm not working currently. I'm ready to go live on the fly, right? So just be ready, guys. So I might go live and dip in and out throughout the day. But thank you as always for watching. I'm going to leave it there, and we'll see you all soon. Peace.